They say aging is a gentle thief. It doesn't strike all at once, but steals little things over time. Your energy, your digestion, your confidence in your own body. Maybe you've noticed the changes to bloating that appears out of nowhere, a stomach that no longer agrees with your favorite foods, or a heaviness in your belly that lingers long after dinner. It's easy to think this is just the way things go as we get older, but what if it isn't? What if there's an ancient, time-tested method hidden in plain sight that could help you reclaim not only your digestive health, but your sense of vitality every single night? In this video, you'll discover the forgotten power of sweeping the spleen meridian before bed, an extraordinary practice that's helping countless older adults banish bloating, sleep better, and feel truly alive again from the inside out. As we age, the systems within our bodies begin to slow down, not just physically, but energetically. The aches and stiffness you feel aren't just due to old bones or tired muscles. Much of it stems from what Eastern medicine calls the weakening of the spleen meridian. You may have never heard of it, but if you've been struggling with bloating, poor digestion, or a stubborn feeling of heaviness after meals, this ancient energetic pathway could hold the answer. In traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen isn't just an organ that filters blood. It is considered the central pillar of digestion, transformation, and transportation of nutrients. It's like the engine room that converts what you eat into energy and life force. But over time, especially after 60, the spleen meridian becomes sluggish. You may notice it in subtle ways: more frequent bloating, an increase in belly fat, unexplained tiredness even after resting, or a feeling that your body is holding on to moisture and puffiness. What's even more frustrating is that no amount of antacids, probiotics, or expensive supplements seem to fix it long term. That's because the problem isn't just chemical, it's energetic. Imagine your body like a garden. In youth, the soil is fertile, water flows freely, and sunlight nourishes every part. But over time, the pathways that bring nutrients to the meridians become clogged with stagnation, stress, cold energy, and poor movement. The spleen meridian, which runs from your big toe up the inner part of your leg toward your abdomen, is particularly sensitive to lifestyle, emotions, and aging. It governs digestion, blood production, and fluid balance. When it weakens, you don't just get gas and indigestion, you get fatigue, poor appetite, brain fog, and a deep sense of heaviness that no nap can cure. It's a hidden imbalance, silently draining the vitality of millions of elderly individuals every day. You may have blamed it on just getting old, but Eastern medicine whispers a different truth. Your body still holds incredible power to heal if you can unlock the pathways that carry your life force. Now here's where things get fascinating. In Chinese medicine, it's believed that every organ has a network of energy, highways, the meridians. The spleen's meridian is like the mother road for digestion and blood generation. When this road is blocked or weak, everything else suffers. Think of it like a clogged drain. No matter how much clean water you pour in, it won't flow properly unless the path is cleared. And the reason most elderly people suffer from chronic bloating and indigestion is because no one ever taught them how to care for this energy pathway. Doctors may give pills, and nutritionists may suggest fiber, but no one addresses the sluggish meridian that's causing the root imbalance. That's where the powerful but gentle technique of sweeping the spleen meridian comes in. But before we get to that, let's take a step back and look at the clues your body might be giving you. Do your legs often feel heavy? Is there swelling in your ankles or calves by the end of the day? Do you get sleepy after meals or crave sweets without feeling satisfied? All of these are telltale signs that your spleen meridian is out of balance. In traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen dislikes dampness and cold. As we get older and move less, our digestive fire weakens and the dampness builds. This internal dampness doesn't show up in blood tests, but you feel it. You feel foggy, bloated, lethargic. And tragically, many seniors are told this is normal, but normal does not mean healthy. There is a quiet rebellion happening in your body, and it's time to restore balance, not surrender to age. The spleen meridian also ties deeply to emotional wellness. In Chinese medicine, excessive worry and overthinking damage the spleen. So if you find yourself lying in bed, ruminating about your children, your past decisions, or the state of the world, you're not just mentally tired, you're energetically draining your digestion too. It becomes a vicious cycle. Emotional worry weakens the spleen. A weak spleen causes poor digestion. Poor digestion makes the body feel heavy and tired, and that physical exhaustion leads to more emotional stress. Many elderly people are caught in this silent loop. And again, no one talks about it, not your doctor, not your children, maybe not even you, but your body knows, and it's asking for your help. This is why understanding and activating the spleen meridian is not just a wellness practice, it's a sacred act of reclaiming your inner strength. You don't need to be a yoga expert or an acupuncture patient. You just need to start with awareness. Begin noticing how you feel before and after meals. Observe how your stomach reacts to emotions. Begin to think of bloating not as a random nuisance, but as a message, a signal that your inner engine is out of sync. And once you tune into that signal, you can begin restoring the flow. And what's the simplest, safest way to begin? With your own hands. By gently sweeping or massaging along the path of the spleen meridian, starting from the inside of your big toe, running along the inner leg and up toward your abdomen, you can begin clearing energetic stagnation, improving circulation, and stimulating the digestive system in ways pills never could. Especially at night, before sleep, this simple act sends signals of safety, warmth, and flow to the body. It resets your nervous system, grounds your emotions, and prepares the internal organs for rest and repair. Over time, seniors who practice this nightly have reported dramatic reductions in bloating, lighter legs, better sleep, and a calmer heart. It's as if the body finally feels heard, and in return, it responds with gratitude. Western science is only beginning to catch up to these ideas. Studies on acupressure and meridian therapy have shown improved digestion, reduced stress, and even enhanced immunity in elderly participants. But long before labs and data, ancient cultures knew what modern medicine often forgets: that the human touch, intention, and consistent attention to energy pathways hold immense healing power. Especially in old age, when the body is more sensitive but also more wise, these gentle rituals carry profound effects. So the next time you feel bloated or low in energy, don't immediately reach for medicine. Instead, consider this. Maybe your body isn't sick, it's just stagnant. And by awakening the spleen meridian, you're not only helping your digestion, you're honoring the wisdom of your age, connecting to centuries of healing tradition, and giving yourself a powerful, drug-free way to restore vitality. That's not just health, that's transformation. Now that you've begun to understand just how central the spleen meridian is to your overall well-being, especially in old age, the natural next question becomes, what can be done? And even more importantly, what can you do right now without spending a dime, without waiting in line at a clinic, and without relying on yet another pill? The answer lies in your very own hands. There is an ancient, remarkably simple practice that has been passed down for generations in traditional Chinese medicine, and it's quietly gaining recognition among the wise elderly who have chosen to reclaim their health instead of surrendering it. It's called sweeping the spleen meridian, and doing it every single night before bed is changing lives. At first glance, this may sound like superstition or merely a bedtime ritual with no real consequence, but don't be fooled by its simplicity. In reality, this nightly habit is a direct communication with your body's energy system. Each sweep, each stroke along the spleen meridian isn't just skin deep, it reverberates through your internal organs, your blood flow, your nervous system, and even your emotional state. When done consistently, it can transform nights of bloating, restlessness, and indigestion into peaceful evenings filled with lightness, ease, and restorative sleep. And for many seniors who've grown tired of ineffective prescriptions and confusing health advice, this one practice feels like a miracle. So how exactly does it work? And why is nighttime the most powerful moment to engage with this meridian? To understand that, we need to appreciate the body's natural rhythm, According to both ancient Eastern wisdom and modern chronobiology, your body enters a state of energetic reset at night. Around 9:11 p.m., the triple burner begins to activate. By 11 p.m., the gallbladder starts its detoxification. At midnight, the liver takes over, cleansing your blood and calming your mind. But none of these systems can operate efficiently if the spleen engine that digests food and transforms it into blood and energy has been overloaded or left stagnant during the day. Bloating, heaviness, and sluggish circulation become roadblocks that block the nighttime repair process. That's where the sweeping comes in. By stimulating the spleen meridian before bed, you're clearing the energetic traffic jam so your body can begin healing while you sleep. The act itself couldn't be easier. Simply sit or lie in a comfortable position. Breathe slowly and place your palm at the inside of your big toe. From there, gently sweep upward along the inside of your foot, your ankle, your inner calf, the inner thigh, and all the way toward your lower abdomen. Do this slowly, mindfully, and without pressure. You are not massaging for muscle relief. You are awakening a path. One direction only, always upward. Repeat this motion 7 to 10 times on each leg. Within a few nights, you may begin noticing subtle changes. Your belly feels lighter, your sleep becomes deeper, and your mornings more refreshed. This is not coincidence, it's energetic rebalancing in action. Many elderly individuals have described astonishing improvements after just 1 week of this nightly ritual. Some said their bloating, which had plagued them for years, suddenly disappeared. Others reported that their legs felt lighter, as though the swelling that once made walking a chore had begun to drain away. There are even those who confessed they were skeptical at first, but were stunned when they no longer needed sleeping pills because, for the first time in years, they slept through the night naturally. And what's most beautiful is this: none of them changed their diet drastically. None took a new medication. None underwent a medical procedure. They simply learned to speak to their body in a forgotten language, the language of energy flow. Why is this practice so effective for the elderly in particular? Because as we age, our body systems become slower, but they also become more receptive. The sensitivity that once seemed like a burden, getting cold easily, reacting strongly to certain foods, becomes a blessing when paired with the right gentle interventions. The spleen meridian is highly responsive to warmth, touch, and consistency. And this is where your nightly practice becomes more than a routine aid. Becomes a ritual of self-respect. As you sweep along the meridian, you are not just aiding your digestion, you are giving your body the acknowledgement it deserves after decades of loyal service. Each gentle stroke says, "I see you. I support you. Let's heal together." But let me share something even deeper, something that few people talk about. The emotional shift that occurs when this becomes a part of your evening. You begin to feel a sense of agency again. Instead of lying in bed with a bloated belly and a racing mind, you now engage in an action that calms both the gut and the soul. For many seniors, especially those living alone or quietly enduring chronic discomfort, this becomes the moment of reconnection with the body, with the present, with peace. The swirling thoughts begin to fade as you focus on your breath and your hands' movement. It's a meditation in motion, a return to self-awareness. Moreover, from a physiological standpoint, this motion helps stimulate parasympathetic nervous activity, the very system that controls rest and digestion. Sweeping the spleen meridian signals to your brain that the body is safe, calm, and ready to heal. It lowers cortisol levels, eases blood pressure, and improves microcirculation in the abdomen and lower limbs. This is especially vital in the elderly, who often suffer from poor peripheral blood flow and nighttime anxiety. The warmth and movement generated by this practice serve as a form of internal massage for the intestines, gently nudging peristalsis and reducing trapped gas. Over time, this practice can even retrain your gut to function more rhythmically, restoring a digestive vitality you thought was long gone. It's no wonder, then, that elderly communities across Asia, particularly in Japan, Taiwan, and rural China, have quietly embraced this nightly tradition. In small homes and senior centers, You'll find elders sitting on the edge of their beds, softly sweeping their legs in quiet unison, reclaiming not only their digestion but their dignity. And perhaps most telling of all, those who do this regularly don't just look better, they glow. Their eyes become clearer, their cheeks less puffy, their gait more balanced. And when asked what changed, they smile and say, "I learned how to listen to my body again." In a world that often tells seniors to accept decline, to step aside, or to be passive recipients of care, this gentle practice offers the opposite. It offers empowerment. You don't need a gym membership, a yoga mat, or an expensive supplement. You don't need approval from a doctor who barely listens. All you need is 10 quiet minutes before bed, your bare hands, and the willingness to touch your body with love and awareness. From that simple act springs an entire cascade of healing. Not because it's magic, but because your body, when given attention and rhythm, knows exactly what to do. It always has. So if you're ready to transform your nights from bloated and restless to calm and healing, don't wait. Begin tonight. Sit down, breathe deep, and sweep. Not just to banish bloating, but to restore the quiet harmony that aging was never meant to take from you. You are not too old. Your body has not forgotten. All it needs is your hand to remind it where the path begins. Now that you've discovered the quiet power of sweeping the spleen meridian each night, and you've begun to feel the shift, perhaps in your belly, your sleep, or your sense of calm, it's time to truly master the technique. Because while the idea is simple, its effects become profound only when practiced with intention, precision, and care. Especially for seniors, whose bodies deserve gentleness and attention more than ever before. Knowing how to do this movement correctly can mean the difference between a passing habit and a deeply healing ritual that transforms your nights and restores your days. So let us slow down together, as if we are sitting in a quiet, candlelit room, just you, your breath, and the wisdom your body has carried through the decades. You don't need strength. You don't need flexibility. All you need is presence and the willingness to touch your body like it matters, because it does. Begin by finding a calm place. It could be the edge of your bed, a cozy armchair, or even a soft mat on the floor. The most important thing is comfort. There's no rush. This is your moment. The room should be warm, quiet, and softly lit, just enough to make you feel safe and undistracted. Sit upright, but not rigidly. Let your body settle. Close your eyes for a brief moment. Place one hand over your lower abdomen and take 3 slow, deep breaths each, one longer than the last. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Let the tension in your jaw, your hands, your back melt. This isn't just a step in a process. It's the beginning of a sacred conversation between your mind and body. Now, gently lift your right foot and rest it on your left thigh if you can. If that's uncomfortable, simply place your leg straight out in front of you. Then take your open palm, either hand is fine, and place it on the inside of your right big toe. This is where the spleen meridian begins. With a feather-light touch, begin to sweep, not rub. Not press along the inner line of your foot, slowly moving up the inside of your ankle, along the inner calf, crossing the knee, then following the soft inner thigh up to the crease where the thigh meets the torso. This is the entire spleen meridian line. Imagine it as a silent stream of energy you're waking up. With each upward stroke, visualize warmth traveling into your abdomen, like sunshine thawing a winter field. Repeat this motion slowly 7 to 10 times. Keep your breath steady, your mind quiet, and your movement always flowing upward, never back down. If your hands feel cold, rub them together first. A warm palm carries healing in a way that no tool or machine ever could. You may choose to whisper a word of gratitude during the sweep. Thank you, heal, flow, light, whatever feels right. This small act of mindfulness deepens the body's receptivity. Then, switch to the left leg and repeat the process. Always move from the big toe upward to the groin. Never go in reverse. You are not just massaging skin, you are guiding energy. You are clearing stagnation from the same channels that, day after day, carry your body's fuel. This isn't exercise, it's restoration. And unlike a workout that depletes you, this gives you back something each time. Softness in the belly, warmth in the chest, clarity in the mind, and ease in your sleep. For elderly individuals with limited mobility, do not worry. If lifting the leg is difficult, place both feet flat on the ground and lean forward gently. Reach down and sweep upward along the inner leg as far as you can. Even partial movement creates ripple effects within your body. Energy flows where intention goes. If your reach is limited, use a soft cloth or wooden roller butt, only if your hands cannot manage it comfortably. Always favor your natural touch. Your body recognizes your own hands more than any tool. It responds with a tenderness that no machine can replicate. And here's something beautiful. The more you do this, the more intuitive it becomes. After a few days, you may feel where your body needs more attention. Perhaps one leg feels colder than the other, or the inner thigh carries a tightness that wasn't there before. This is not cause for worry, it's communication. Your body is starting to talk to you again. And this dialogue, long lost in the noise of modern life, is the key to vibrant aging. Some elders even enhance the experience with gentle music, lavender oil on their hands, or soft chanting under their breath. This turns the practice from a mechanical motion into a healing ritual. Imagine that a ritual just for you, a gift you give yourself at the end of each day, not to fight aging, but to meet it with grace, awareness, and inner strength. Not to delay the passage of time, but to fill each moment with depth and dignity. You might also notice, over time, that sweeping the spleen meridian does more than soothe your stomach. It begins to change how you carry yourself throughout the day. You stand taller, you digest better, you crave cleaner food, you feel more grounded. Even your emotions shift worry and overthinking, which plague so many elderly minds in the quiet of the night, begin to soften. In traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen governs not only digestion but the processing of thoughts. When the spleen is weak, we don't just suffer physically, we ruminate, obsess, feel trapped in mental loops. But when this meridian flows freely, the mind also clears. You begin to rest not only in your body, but in your heart. Let me share something intimate. An elderly woman once said that after sweeping her spleen meridian for 3 weeks, the practice became her sanctuary. Before, she told me, I would lie in bed and think about everyone but myself, my children, my regrets, my worries. But now, these 10 minutes each night are mine. I remember I have a body. I remember I matter. Her words stayed with me, because they reflect something millions of seniors feel, but never speak aloud: the slow vanishing of selfhood. But this practice gently brings you back into your body, back into presence, back into power. And isn't that what we all want deep down in our later years? Not flashy cures or loud promises, just something real, something that works, something that gives back. The sweeping of the spleen meridian is one of those rare treasures of practice, so simple you might dismiss it, but so effective you'll never want to go without it again. So tonight, when the lights are low and the day has quieted, give yourself this moment. Sit with your legs in front of you. Place your hands where life flows quietly, just beneath the skin, and sweep away the stagnation, sweep away the heaviness, sweep in warmth, clarity, and healing, one gentle stroke at a time. And feel the body you've lived in for so long finally respond with gratitude. As this nightly ritual of sweeping the spleen meridian becomes a part of your life, not just something you do, but something you feel, you'll start to notice a quiet revolution taking place inside you. At first, the changes might feel small. You may wake up without that familiar tightness in your abdomen. Your legs might feel a little less swollen. You might find yourself breathing a bit deeper at night, or falling asleep faster. But these are only the whispers, gentle signs that your body is awakening, remembering how to care for itself again. Keep going. Night after night, stroke after stroke. Because with consistency, this practice doesn't just ease bloating, it begins to transform the very way your body ages. You see, in the beginning, the sweeping of the spleen meridian feels like a momentary relief. a calming pause at the end of the day. But over weeks, and especially months, it becomes something far greater, a long-term health intervention rooted in wisdom, not medication. With steady practice, seniors who once relied on antacids and laxatives find that their digestion starts to regulate naturally. The bloating that used to make every meal a gamble disappears like fog lifting under the morning sun. Gas, acid reflux, and constipational symptoms of a sluggish digestive system begin to lessen in frequency and severity, often without a single pill. But the benefits don't stop with the stomach. What begins in the spleen doesn't stay in the spleen. In traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen governs the transformation of food into blood, the nourishment of the muscles, and even the clarity of thought. So, as your spleen meridian flows more freely, you may find your limbs regaining a quiet strength. The heaviness in your thighs and calves blamed on age begins to fade. Walking becomes smoother. You don't tire as quickly when climbing stairs. You feel, quite literally, lighter on your feet. This is no accident. It's a biological ripple effect. When digestion improves, nutrient absorption improves. When nutrients circulate better, muscles regain tone, joints regain mobility, and inflammation begins to decline. Imagine that. A simple sweeping motion, performed each night in silence, helping you stand taller, move freer, and age stronger. Not through force, not through struggle, but through flow, through restoration. Even more astonishing is what happens to the mind. As we age, one of the cruelest symptoms of decline isn't physical pain, it's mental fog, that nagging forgetfulness, that feeling of not being fully present. The sense that thoughts come slower, or not at all. Many seniors accept this as inevitable, but here's the hidden truth. When the spleen weakens, the mind loses clarity. In Chinese medicine, the spleen controls the yith aspect of the spirit responsible for thinking, memory, and concentration. And so, as your spleen meridian is nourished night after night, many seniors report something unexpected. Their thoughts become clearer, their focus sharpens, conversations feel more engaging. Even dreams return vivid, comforting dreams that hadn't visited in years. There's also the emotional bloom that comes from consistent practice. You begin to worry less, not because your life is suddenly perfect, but because your inner landscape feels steadier. The ground beneath your emotions, once shaky with anxiety and regret, becomes rooted. Seniors often carry a heavy emotional load concern for their children, grief for lost friends, fear about their health or finances. But when the spleen is strong, it helps process these emotions with more resilience. You'll find yourself less reactive, less prone to overthinking, and more able to enjoy the small, quiet joys of daily life. A morning sunbeam through the window, the warmth of a cup of tea, the smile of a neighbor. All of this from a practice that takes just 10 minutes before bed. Now let's talk about the immune system. Modern science has finally caught up with what traditional medicine has known for centuries. The health of your gut and spleen is directly tied to your body's defense mechanisms. A weak spleen leads to dampness in the body, and dampness attracts illness. But when you stimulate the spleen meridian nightly, you reduce internal stagnation, you support lymphatic drainage, you help the body detox gently, night after night. The result? Fewer colds, less inflammation, reduced swelling in the joints, better blood sugar control, even clearer skin. Yes, clearer skin even in old age. Because when your organs are functioning well, your skin reflects it. And when your body isn't burdened by toxic buildup, your energy returns. Not the frantic energy of youth, but the grounded, steady vitality that lets you rise in the morning with purpose and move through your day with grace. There's another subtle benefit: improved balance. Seniors often fear falling, and rightfully so. A fall in old age can change a life overnight. But what causes most falls? Weak legs, unstable footing, and a lack of internal awareness. Sweeping the spleen meridian stimulates not just blood flow to the legs, but proprioception, the body's sense of position and movement. As you reconnect with your inner leg line each night, You become more attuned to your lower body. You walk with more intention. You catch yourself sooner if you stumble. You become less fragile. And perhaps the most profound shift of all is this: the return of trust in your body. Many elderly people live in quiet fear of their own bodies. Every ache is a warning. Every change is a threat. They begin to see their bodies not as allies, but as time bombs. But as you continue sweeping the spleen meridian, and as the benefits unfold gradually and surely, that relationship begins to change. You start to feel that your body is not phalanges responding, that it hasn't abandoned you, it just needed you to touch it again, to believe in it, to activate it. And in return, it begins to believe in you. This is not just physical healing. It is emotional repair. It is spiritual reconnection. And it happens not in a clinic, but in the quiet of your own room. Each night, as your hand sweeps upward, you are lifting more than tissue. You are lifting years of tension, of grief, of disconnection. You are telling your body, I'm still here. I'm still listening. I still care. And oh, how the body responds. This is why, in rural parts of East Asia, elders live long, vibrant lives with minimal medical intervention. They don't just eat well, they move energy well. They don't rely on gyms or gadgets. They rely on hands, breath, rhythm, and ritual. And the nightly sweeping of the spleen meridian is one of their quietest secrets. You have this power too. Don't let anyone convince you that aging is a one-way road to decline. Don't let society's noise drown out your body's wisdom. You have within you the capacity to feel better not by force, but by flow. Not by fighting your age, but by honoring it. Each night you sweep, you reinforce a truth that medicine often forgets. The body is not a machine to be fixed. It is a garden to be nourished. And with every stroke, you pull out weeds, plant seeds, and water the roots of your own well-being. This is what happens when you stay consistent. This is what unfolds when a simple practice becomes a sacred habit. But as with all things in life, the deepest healing doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in connection. Just as a river flows best when the surrounding land is clear and nourished, so too does the spleen meridian respond best when your entire lifestyle supports its flow. Nightly sweeping, as transformative as it is, becomes exponentially more powerful when combined with conscious choices in how you eat, move, breathe, and even think. This is where true longevity is born not from one miracle habit, but from the quiet symphony of small actions repeated daily. Let us start with what may seem the simplest, but is in fact the most sacred: your diet. In traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen favors warmth, softness, and simplicity. Cold, raw, greasy, and excessively sweet foods burden the spleen like stones in a river. They slow digestion, create internal dampness, and cause the very bloating and fatigue we seek to release. But warm, cooked meal, gently steamed vegetables, soft rice, broths, lightly sautéed greens are like kind words to your inner organs. Soups made with ginger, pumpkin, carrots, or mung beans are not only easy to digest but gently stimulate the spleen meridian's vitality. A warm cup of herbal tea after meals like chamomile, ginger, or licorice root can extend the effects of your nightly sweep, acting like a hand that continues to soothe the river long after you've gone to sleep. Meal timing, too, matters more than you may realize. Seniors who eat dinner late often find themselves lying in bed with a heavy belly, which burdens the spleen during its essential nighttime function. By simply shifting dinner earlier, perhaps around 5:30 or 6:00 p.m., you give your digestive system the space to complete its work before rest. This single adjustment can make your nightly sweeping even more effective, because now your meridian isn't fighting against a full stomach, it's supporting a system already in alignment. But digestion doesn't begin with food, it begins with movement. Gentle movement during the day stirs the body's qi, especially in the abdomen and legs where the spleen meridian travels. Elderly individuals who sit too long watching television, reading, or even resting risk causing energy to stagnate. Just 20 minutes of slow walking, tai chi, or gentle stretching every morning can awaken the meridians and open the gates for your nightly ritual to work at its fullest. When you walk with awareness, swinging your arms naturally, you are already encouraging the spleen meridian to breathe. And when you lift your legs, even slightly, you activate the muscular channels that cradle the meridian line like vines supporting a flower stem. And then there is breath, perhaps the most overlooked tool of healing. The spleen thrives on rhythmic, deep breathing. Shallow, anxious breath starves the blood of oxygen and suppresses digestion. But when you breathe deeply into your belly, slowly, with your full attention, you are massaging the organs from the inside. Consider adding a 5-minute breathing practice before or after your meridian sweep. Inhale gently through the nose for a count of 4, hold for 2, then exhale softly for a count of 6. This simple technique activates your parasympathetic nervous system, telling your body, it's time to heal. You are safe now. Over time, this pairing of breath and touch becomes a doorway to profound inner peace. And then, of course, there is the mind. The elderly often face a flood of thoughts at night. Regrets from the past, fears about health, sadness over children who don't visit, anxieties over money, loneliness. All of these emotions affect the spleen. In fact, Chinese medicine teaches that excessive rumination is like damp earth. It suffocates the body's fire. That's why the sweeping of the spleen meridian is not just physical, it is emotional hygiene. But you can amplify it by practicing a form of mental sweeping. As you stroke upward, mentally let go of one worry. Whisper to yourself, let it pass. Or, I am not carrying this tonight. Bit by bit, your mind will begin to mimic your body, releasing, lightening, restoring. You may even wish to write down your worries before you sweep. Keep a small notebook beside your bed. Each evening, jot down the 3 thoughts that trouble you most. Then, close the notebook and begin your sweeping. Symbolically, you are transferring those worries out of your mind and through your hands. And when you wake the next day, revisit the notebook. You'll be amazed to find that some of those thoughts no longer have weight. They melted overnight, carried away by the current of your inner healing. Even your sleeping posture can influence the spleen. Try sleeping on your right side. This position allows the stomach and spleen area to rest in a way that's less compressed, promoting more natural digestion through the night. Place a pillow between your knees and under your belly if needed to feel supported. The idea is to cradle your body, not to stiffen it. Treat yourself as you would treat a fragile but beloved treasure, because you are. Many elderly people, without even realizing it, are surrounded by habits that sabotage the spleen's work. Eating while standing, watching upsetting news before bed, drinking cold water with meals, or arguing late at night. Each of these chips away at the body's ability to restore itself. But when replaced, slow meals, warm drinks, peaceful music, a clean, quiet space, your environment becomes part of the cure. And suddenly, the nightly sweeping is not fighting against daily damages, being supported by a whole ecosystem of wellness. Now picture this. You've eaten a warm, early dinner. You've taken a gentle walk in the evening light. Your favorite calming tea warms your hands. You sit quietly, breathing deeply, and then you sweep slowly, lovingly along the paths of the spleen meridian. You've let go of the noise, the worries, the weight. Your body, touched by rhythm and care, melts into rest. You fall asleep not out of exhaustion, but out of readiness. This is the life that awaits when small choices align. This is the gift of integration. Because the truth is, health was never meant to be hard. It was meant to be harmonious. The human body was designed to heal, if only we'd stop interrupting it. The spleen meridian does not ask for loud interventions. It asks for consistency. It asks for softness. It asks for alignment between how you live and how you care for yourself. When those elements meet, healing becomes not an effort but a natural result. And the elderly who embrace this path, they are the ones others admire, not because they look 20 years younger, but because they feel 20 years freer. Their eyes shine, their backs are straight. Their nights are deep, their minds are calm, their legs are light. They no longer fear growing old because they've grown into wisdom, not away from it. You can become one of them. You have the knowledge, You've felt the beginning. And now, with each breath, each meal, each step, and each nightly sweep, you can deepen that healing. You can move from relief to renewal, from soothing symptoms to unlocking strength, from fearing tomorrow to loving tonight. So do not stop now. The path you walk is ancient, gentle, and true. Let your life become the medicine. Let your hands become the healer. And let your nights become the beginning of the most vibrant years you've ever lived. So if you've made it this far, that means a part of you already feels it, that gentle tug in your heart, reminding you that it's never too late to reconnect with your body, to restore what time has quietly worn down. Sweeping the spleen meridian isn't just about digestion or better sleep, it's about remembering your strength, your presence, your peace. If this video spoke to you, if even a single sentence made you pause and reflect, I invite you to leave a comment and share your thoughts or experiences. Let's support one another in this journey toward graceful aging. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone you care about, because healing is even more powerful when it's shared. Until next time, take a deep breath, be gentle with yourself, and remember, your body still listens. All it needs is your hand to guide it home.